Although Father's Day was yesterday, today I want to shout out all the amazing dads around the world. To all the stepdads, the uncles, grandfathers, pet dads, and anyone who has taken up the role of a father, and especially to my dad. And to those who have lost fathers or to fathers who have lost children, my thoughts are with you. Today I'm finally sharing Daddy's hops bread recipe. As you would have seen in the many family vlogs that I share, when my husband and I visit Trinidad, Daddy makes hops a few times a week because my husband absolutely loves how light and airy they are. When Daddy says he's baking bread, we love to gather around him in the kitchen because it's such a therapeutic process. I love kneading dough or watching it being done. Did you know that the traditional Trinbagonian hops bread were leavened with the extract of male hop flowers? This is why they're called hops bread. No yeast was used in the recipe and it was more crusty than the bread we know today. They were known as penny loaves because they were sold for a penny a piece. According to historian Angelo Bissassing, John Alfred Ramsey is credited for adopting this technique from French bakers, and he served hops bread at his bakery in Port of Spain. Traditionally, these were baked over banana leaves and covered with it also, which imparted a subtle sweet flavor to the bread. My grandmother Ma told me stories of her days baking bread on banana leaves on a fireside. To start making Daddy's soft hops bread, you need 4 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of salt, 3 teaspoons or 1 tablespoon of yeast, and Daddy loves using the Fermipan instant yeast. So I actually got carried away because I was on the phone and I added way too much yeast, so I decided to double the recipe. There's absolutely nothing wrong with more bread. The more the merrier, right? Add 4 teaspoons of sugar and give that a good mix. Now Daddy said to add 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, and I actually didn't have any, so I just used some walnut oil instead. He also adds 2 tablespoons of lard, and you can also use some butter or vegetable shortening. Rub the fat into the flour until it's completely incorporated. Now make a well in the center and add some warm water, approximately about 110 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. You'll need about 1 3/4 to 2 cups of water depending on the humidity of where you live. Add the water a little at a time and squeeze the dough together until it pulls together into one big dough ball. Instead of water, you can also add some milk or a combination of both. Daddy keeps it old school and he uses his hands, but if you have problems with your wrists like I do, feel free to do this in a stand mixer. Mix it on medium speed for about 8 to 10 minutes to develop the gluten. Using both hands, I like to knead and press down with the heels of my hands. Knead it for 10 to 12 minutes until it's nice and smooth and elastic. Once you're finished kneading, rub some oil inside the bowl and over the entire surface of the dough. This actually helps the dough to rise smoothly and to prevent it from sticking as it moves up the side of the bowl. It also keeps the dough from drying out. Now cover the dough and let it double in size in a warm area in your kitchen. You can place it in the microwave, the oven, or even outside in the sun. It's so hot tonight, so I'm placing it outside on my patio. If you live in a cold climate, place it in the warmest area of the house. When I lived in New York, I actually used to put it in the boiler room and that worked really well too. This is the dough after 45 minutes. Looks beautiful, right? Punch down on it and knead it into a smooth ball. Let it rise again for about 45 minutes. Now let it rise again for about 45 minutes. Wow, look at that. Now it's time to form our smaller dough balls to make the hops bread. Divide the dough into 18, 16, 12 or 8 pieces depending on how big or small you want them. My dad has a good average, so he just breaks off pieces of the dough. And I actually just like to cut it. If you want them to be the same size, weigh the large dough ball and then divide that weight by how many pieces you want. And then you'll have a good idea of what weight each dough ball should be. As you can see here, Daddy likes to keep his hands oiled to form the small dough balls. Fold the edges into the middle and seal it, and now roll it in your palm to help with the rounding. Place it seam side down onto a greased pan or a pan lined with parchment paper. Place the dough balls close together on the pan so that they don't dry out as they bake. And this will keep them really nice and soft also. Let them rise for about 30 to 45 minutes or until they're doubled in size. And keep in mind that if you live in a colder place, it's going to take a little bit longer. If you live in a really warm place, then it won't take that long. If you want a quicker proofing method, then I'll link my hops bread recipe in the description box below. Now they're ready for the oven. Place them into a 350 degree Fahrenheit or a 180 degree Celsius oven for about 20 minutes. So Daddy actually likes to bake the hops for 20 minutes because he likes them lightly colored. I bake them for about 10 minutes more because I love that dark golden brown color on top. Don't they look divine? Immediately brush some butter on top and remove them from the pan to cool down. Hot hops always calls for some butter or some cheese and pepper sauce. These are usually eaten with curried channa, fried eggs, chow mein, stewed gizzards, geera chicken or pork, roasted pork, black pudding, some Christmas ham, some fried chicken, and the list goes on. You can find hops bread at any bakery in Trinidad and Tobago. These soft and pillowy dinner rolls are similar to the East Indian pav and to Guyanese tennis rolls. Daddy actually made these hops to go with some curried channa that my brother made. In my family, food is what brings everyone together, and we love to help with the preparations. Food always tastes better when you eat it with your family. Thank you to my dad for sharing his hops bread recipe with me, and by extension, all of our YouTube family. Please leave a nice comment for Daddy in the comment box below. And I'd love to hear more about your dad. What does he cook or bake the best? Also, tell me how you celebrated your dad today. Today I want to shout out my amazing daddy who was and still is one of my biggest motivators. As a child, I loved experimenting in the kitchen, and my dad always ate the food and told me how amazing it tasted, whether it was edible or not. I even made lunch for him to take to work, and years later, I found out that he would show off the food to his co-workers. My dad has taught me how to be selfless, hardworking, and he always encourages me to stay true to myself. He's the definition of a true father and grandfather, and we are so lucky to have him in our lives. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give Daddy a thumbs up for his amazing recipe. Share all your comments below and subscribe to stay updated. See you next time. Bye!